What is up, everybody? My name is Dion, and I am Melanin and Merlot. Welcome to my wine channel. This is Black Wine TV. We're going to do this all day, every other week. Not all day, every day, but I'll probably upload a video at least once a week. I'm going to be talking about wine, Black people in wine, people of color in wine, whether they own some type of owner stake in it, they have their own wine line, they have their own vineyard, wine blog, wine shop, restaurant, whatever it is. I want to feature it and I want to let you guys know. So I always talk about, what's going on in Black wine news, whether it's, someone has a new wine line, someone just opened up a new wine shop. Where is it? We have more people in wine distribution. So those that are wanting to do their own wine line maybe can reach out to a Black owner in wine distribution to, conduct some type of business. So that's what I want to feature here. I'm also going to always talk about a wine tip of some sort, just so that you guys can educate yourselves and be more experienced as you go out into the world, go to restaurants, 4-star, 5-star restaurants, and you're wanting to order a glass of wine. How do you do that? Do I do a bottle? Do I do a glass? What vineyard? What area? Do I get it from California? Do I want a wine from Washington? Do I want a wine from Napa or Sonoma, California? How do I choose a wine from a wine menu? What does that look like? So if you don't have a som or if you don't have a wine expert with you, it's going to make it a little bit easier just to know a few tricks of the trade. Other than that, I just want to let you guys know this has been in the making for 2 years. Today I sat down and I've basically finally said, let me get up and go do this. If I wait one more day, one more week, is my hair done? Is my makeup correct? Do I have the right outfit? Do I have the right background? Do I have the right camera? I decided to just use my phone. You should just start. So someone told me, just start, just do it. If you don't have the right camera, who cares? Use your phone, just upload it on YouTube and do you. So today I decided to do me. You take one step in the right direction and you can make your dreams come true, whatever that is. I've always loved wine. It's been on a different level than a lot of my friends. I've gone out to restaurants with friends and family and just watching them try to select a wine. Everybody that I know is really into, your Rieslings or Moscatos. And a lot of times that is not on the menu at a restaurant that's like 4-star, 5-star restaurants. They don't typically keep those types of wines in their on their menu. So it's hard for them to go out and find something that they like because a lot of people are really used to, I want something sweet. I want a Riesling. I want a Moscato. Sometimes the waiter offers them a port because they do have ports. They are sweet, but they are high in alcohol content. And it's not going to be like a Moscato or a Riesling. So I wanted to just educate you guys on even moving your palate in a different direction. If you're really used to sweets, well, what is the next step? What can I try that is not as sweet as a Moscato, but, I might like it. How do I move into a red wine? I love reds. I love whites. You can love all kinds of wines. And a wine is not bad just because your palate does not like it. So we're going to get into all of that as well. We're going to get into, how to pick wine. I'm going to walk through a grocery store. We'll look at the shelves, top shelf versus bottom shelf. It is like when you go to a club. When you go into a grocery store, top shelf wines are different than bottom shelf wines. Higher quality, lower quality. That's why they're called top shelf, and the other ones are on the bottom shelf. So we'll get into that as well. I am just really excited to be here. And in this wine news episode today, I really just want to get into two individuals that we all know that has been present in our lives for a very long time, that have big owner stakes in their own wine lines. And I think as the wine industry continues to grow, it is $1 billion industry that has very little presence of, people of color. very little present. So inch by inch, as the years go by, little, more people continue to gravitate towards this industry. It's fun. It's wine. It should not be intimidating. It should be something that is enjoyed, just like if you enjoy a glass of vodka or a glass of gin or a glass of, Hennessy. It should be something that you just really want to enjoy. And you should not let anybody intimidate you or talk you out of enjoying a nice glass of wine at home, at a restaurant, with your friends, at a club, doing what you do. You know what I'm saying? So the two individuals I want to talk about, number one is Jay-Z. Who is Jay-Z? Rapper, philanthropist, entrepreneur, billionaire. The man is making money, and he's also giving back to his people at the same time. But he owns Ace of Spades. I know we've all seen the gold bottle in the music videos. We've seen them on Instagram. There was at Diddy's 50th birthday party. If you saw some of those videos, Ace of Spades is everywhere. But it's pretty expensive. It's about $300 a bottle, $300 plus a bottle. And it is a really high quality. It's been very well rated, and I've had it. It's enjoyable. I like it. It's one of the biggest brands of champagne that is on the market right now. And if you get the chance to try it, I say go for it. Jay-Z has been doing this, I believe, since 2014, if I'm not mistaken. It continues to grow every year. And, New Year's is coming. Grab yourself a bottle of Ace of Spades. Remember, though, there's only about 4 or 5 glasses in this bottle, right? And it's a champagne glass size. If you use the champagne flute, wine tastes differently. Champagne tastes differently in a regular wine glass or a champagne flute. So remember that. And just know it's only 4 or 5 glasses. Do not try to share this bottle with 6 or 7 people on New Year's for $300. You will be very disappointed. Your pockets may be excited for you because you saved a hefty penny by splitting it 7 ways, but you will be highly disappointed. You will only get maybe a fourth a glass if you're going to split it with 7 people. So keep that in mind. Next, we have D-Wade. Dwayne Wade, do you know him? Retired NBA All-Star player of the Miami Heat, 3-time championship winner, and husband to our girl Gabrielle Union. So if you don't know D-Wade, I know you know Gabrielle Union. He started a wine line called Wade Cellars. So congratulations to you, D-Wade. Way to live out your dream. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to just take charge, live out our dreams, do what we do. He got into it because he was having, wine with LeBron James and Chris Bosh. He thought, this is dope. They would go out to dinner all the time. They would try new wines. Their pockets is fat. So they ain't trying the $14, $20, $30 bottle of wine. They are trying probably $100, $200, $300 bottles of wine. Wines that have aged. It's 2019, about to be 2020. They probably done tried a 1979 something, a 1989 something. So the longer these wines have aged and have sat on the shelf, some of them, as they age, they become so silky smooth and so beautiful, so dreamy. But they're expensive. So he fell in love with wine that way. He got a friend down in Napa, California, who showed him the vineyard. He went down there during the vintage season, and he fell in love. He decided to make his own wine, He said, let's get into it. So D-Wade made his own wine line called Wade Cellars, and he has a Cabernet, a Rosé, and a blend. He does have a website, so if you guys want to try it out, go check out his website. You can order it online. A lot of the times that I'm learning is a lot of our people of color that do own a wine line, it is really hard to find them at the local grocery or at the local wine shop or liquor store. It's hard, but they do have online presence. So you can go to D-Wade Cellars and go to his website, and you can order it and have it shipped straight to your door. Same thing with Ace of Spades. You can go online to Ace of Spades, and you can have that shipped to your door as well. I do know you can find Ace of Spades at the local wine shops, the higher end liquor stores, and even at some of the bigger chains like Sam's. I believe they do have Ace of Spades there. But it's really hard to find something like Wade Cellars. He has to get his distribution together if he wants to get it out to the masses. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of wines that are out there, and it's really hard to get distribution into these stores. So you got to have a good price point, and those distribution companies want to be able to ship them out so they can get some good money. So the price point is always key with some of these things, and it's easier for the winemaker, the wine line owner, to distribute their wine on their own websites. Obviously, they make more money if we go online to buy it versus if you get it at the local grocery. So we'll get into that as well. But that is your wine news, your black wine news for today. Remember, Jay-Z, Ace of Spades, D. Wade owns Wade Cellars. And then if you want to drink a little Wade Cellars, you can read Gabrielle Union's book, We're Going to Need More Wine. So I had to plug that book, Gabrielle Union, We're Going to Need More Wine. Amazing book. If you don't have time to read because you're working a lot, I'm always driving. My full-time job is driving from one place to the next. Audible. Gabrielle Union is talking on there. If you're at home, you can do Audible and drink at the same time as you're cleaning or doing whatever. But pop that book, get you some Wade Cellars, get you some Ace of Spades. Let's support our people. That's my black wine news update for today. And now we're going to get into wine tips. Wine tips. Y'all remember that? So my wine tips is basically, it's not really a tip. It's like wine tasting. So we wine taste at like vineyards. We're going to go to a wine tasting room or someplace like that and taste. You don't think of wine tasting as something that you do on the everyday basis, or if you're going to a restaurant, even a bar. You can have them, just pour you a little bit in a glass and taste it before you purchase it. And the reason why you're doing the wine tasting at some of the restaurants and bars and stuff is not because you're trying to see if the wine is good. It's because you're trying to see if it's old, funky, and skunky and just right? Not to see if it pleases your palate because, you're trying to see if you like the taste of it. What you like and what is actually in the bottle could be two different things. It may be a good quality wine and you just might not like it. That's not why you wine taste. You wine taste to make sure it's not funky, it's not skunky, it hasn't gotten any oxygen in the bottle and it's turned. So these are things that you do when you go to like a 5-star restaurant. You have a sommelier, a wine expert, or your waiter come up to you. They will take the cork out of the bottle and they will first hand you the cork. The point of handing you the cork is so you can smell it. If it stinks, it smells like old basement cellar, water's been sitting there, it's just funky and skunky. That means oxygen has gotten into it or it was not stored correctly. Wines need to be stored on their sides like this because the cork that is in the bottle needs to stay moisturized by the wine. If it's not moisturized by the wine, it dries up, and when it dries up, it becomes smaller, and so air begins to seep into the bottle. So that's a little tip. When you have wine at home, you want to store it like this, or get you a wine rack. You want to store it in its proper place, and you want to store it either in the basement or in the chill space. Do not store it by a window. This is a wine tip. Do not store your wine by a window. Do not store it in the garage, and do not store it standing straight up. If you store it standing straight up, it's going to age, get old, and when you're ready to go drink it, you're going to be so disappointed because it's going to be so bad. So don't do that, okay? So back into wine tasting. So you go to a restaurant, they hand you the cork, you smell it. If you like the smell of it, you just tell them great. They'll sit it down. Then they'll pour you a little bit of wine, right? As they pour you a little bit of wine, They want you to do your wine tasting. So I'm going to take you through 5 S's. This is how I learned to taste wine. And the 5 S's are see, swirl, sniff, sip, and savor. Okay? See, swirl, sniff, sip, and savor. 5 S's. And I'll tell you why. You want to see it. You want to look at it. You can get you a white piece of paper if you want to. You want to look at it. This just, if you're really into the history of wine, putting a vintage date on it, trying to figure out how old it is, this is for you, right? You're looking at it. I'm looking at red. As the edges of the red wine gets lighter, the older it gets, right? So that's why you look at it. You look at it. You don't have to do that at a restaurant, but you can look at it. And then you swirl it. You're swirling because you're oxidizing the wine. You're getting the oxygen in it, and it opens it up. It allows the aromas to come up. So then you can sniff it. Get your nose in there. Sniff it. Really get it deep in there. What does it smell like? Do you smell cherries? Do you smell wood? Do you smell rock? Do you smell gravel? Do you smell like, steel? If you smell wood, it's because, wines are stored in a wood barrel. If you smell steel, it's because wines are also stored in a steel barrel. It just depends on how that vineyard or how that winemaker wants to make their wine. What else do you smell? You're looking for hints of something, fruit. If not, you can be like my mama. What do you smell, Mom? Grapes. That's what my mom always says. What do you smell? Smells like grapes to me. And that's fine. Some of the things that are in wine, we may not have smelled before. We don't remember it. But, use your memory. Recall what it is. It can be cherries. It can be some type of citrus fruit. It could be wood. It could be gravel. Think about water rolling over rock. Just think about the terrain, the dirt, the trees. Some things are stored in the ocean. What does that smell like? Is it vanilla? Is it chocolate? Is it coffee? Think about all those things. Recall, memory recollection, memory recall of some of the things that we have smelled and tasted throughout our life. And that's why you smell it. You swirl, you sniff, and then you sip. Sip. And when you sip it, I want you to pull some air in with you. Pull air in with you, and it tastes so much differently. So you can try sipping it without pulling the air in, and then try sipping it when you pull the air in. Oh my God, it brings out the notes in the wine so much more. It's a different experience. You don't have to do that every time you drink the wine, but just know it is a different experience. You can kind of chew it, right? And then savor it. If you like it, if it didn't taste nasty, or if it didn't taste bad, like it was skunky or funky or just, an off-putting taste, if you're used to drinking a Cabernet, if you're used to drinking a Chardonnay, if you're used to drinking a Riesling, you know what it tastes like. I know I've gone to multiple friends' homes who have stored their wine incorrectly, and they had a really good brand of wine. And I was super excited that I was going to open it. It was a good vintage. It was a good wine. And they stored it incorrectly. As soon as I smelled it, I knew it was bad. I knew it was so disappointing. All you have to do, you can smell the cork. You can even put your nose up to the wine just a little bit. You know when it's bad. Just use your instinct. But that is what a wine tasting is for when you go out to a restaurant. Or if you go to, a wine vineyard and you go to the wine tasting room, that's how you can taste wine as well, to really see what you like. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like cabs. A lot of people love cabs. People love their Moscato. I'm going to need y'all to try something other than Moscato, though, right? Let's try something other than Moscato. But people love their Moscato. People love their Riesling. There's other wines out there that you can try, and we'll get into it. If you like sweet, we can stay on the sweet side, but we can also move you along. Let's move you along. I know when I started, I did start drinking. I started with Moscato. Then Then I started with the sparkling Moscato, and then I moved into the Rieslings, and then I went to Merlot. Merlots were my thing for a minute, right? And then it became Malbecs. I used to love me some Malbecs. I used to be able to find a lot of Malbecs at bars, and people were sleeping on Malbecs. But if you find a good wine at a bar, you might as well try it. And that's another thing. We'll get into stores later, but the funky and skunkiness, you will typically find a lot of it at food chain restaurants and bars, and sometimes at the movie theaters. Them wines be sitting there open for more than 2 or 3 days. You do not want that. Just let them know it's not good, and you will like a fresh bottle of wine opened. And they will gladly and kindly open it for you. So that is my wine tip. Remember your 5 S's: see, swirl, sniff, sip, and savor. See, swirl, sniff, sip, and savor. Savor. Remember that, y'all. Thank you for joining me today on my wine vlog. My name is Dion. This is Melanin. I am Melanin and Merlot, and this is our Black Wine TV. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week, we'll get into something else. What about wine storage? Do y'all even know how to store the wine? What temperature you're supposed to drink the wine at? Let's think about it. Let's get into it. So check me out next week on Black Wine TV, also known as Melanin and Merlot.